Welcome to Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton, where we talk about legal matters that impact your life and your community issues that help you live the best life. The information presented on Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton should not be considered to be formal legal advice nor the formation of a lawyer-client relationship. It's time to talk justice. Now here's your host, Jennifer Burton.
Welcome this evening to Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton here on the News and Talk of East Tennessee, 98.7 WOKI. We are so happy to have you guys tuned in this evening, this beautiful Saturday summer evening, and we have an amazing show lined up. I'm so excited about this show. Our show is called Justice Talks. We usually do legal shows, but we also try to get some different people to come in from the community and talk about things that are of interest to you, our listeners. You guys are the whole reason we do the show. We get to do it once a week on Saturdays at 6 p.m., and we are so excited this evening because we have a show that is going to be all about one of my favorite places to go in Knoxville, and I love Knoxville. Those of y'all that listen to me know that, and that is the Knoxville Zoo. We are going to be talking to Lisa New, who is the president and CEO of Zoo Knoxville, and I cannot wait for this segment. You guys stick around if you're on your radios right now. When we get into the next segment after the break, we are going to be talking to Lisa, and we are going to hear so many amazing things that are going on with Zoo Knoxville. And this is one of my favorite places to go in Knoxville. Even when I lived in North Carolina growing up, I can remember coming down the gorge to go to Zoo Knoxville. So I'm so excited and just really cannot wait for this show tonight. And I'm really appreciative that Lisa has taken time out of her very busy schedule to come and spend an hour with us on the radio and just tell you guys everything that's going on over at the zoo. And if you have not been lately, go, because it is amazing. And if you have not seen the tiger area, that is my little girl who's 4.5. That's probably her favorite because it is so up close and personal with that tiger. So we love that exhibit over in the East Asia exhibit. If you are just tuning in, you are here on Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton. And if you want to know what the show is about, I'm going to tell you. It's a little bit about everything. Obviously, Justice Talks is a legal show, so we do cover a host of legal issues every week. We talk about different things that are affecting you in the community, but we also try to bring in a little bit of spice, a little bit of something different. We try to bring in things that are of interest to you, things that affect you out there in East Tennessee, whether you're a small business owner, whether you have kids in Knox County schools, whether you are trying to decide who to vote for the city of mayor race coming up, city of Knoxville mayor race coming up. We try to cover a little bit of everything here on Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton. And if you have an idea for a show, or if you say, hey, Jen, there is something I really am wanting to know about. You know, I was driving down the road the other day and I saw this going up in Knoxville. You know, shoot me an email. Let me know. We're always looking for new ideas. My email is jennifer@burtonmckinnish.com. And you can always go to myradiolawyer.com and shoot me an email through that as well. If you're just tuning in and you've never listened before, my name is Jennifer Burton. I'm an attorney here in East Tennessee. I have moved everywhere. I joke that I was a paper brat. My dad worked for a paper company over in Western North Carolina in the Canton area, and I lived there till I was 12, and then we moved around after that. I've lived in New England. I've lived in the Midwest, lived over in West Tennessee a little bit. But consider myself now a Knoxvillian and have since coming here in 1998. I went to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, left Knoxville to go to law school in Memphis, came back, and I've been here ever since. So I've been back in the area since 2006, consider Knoxville home. I feel very fortunate to consider Knoxville home. I can't think of a better place to raise my family here than in Knoxville, between everything the city has to offer and then having the beautiful mountains nearby. It's an awesome community, and I've been so lucky to be able to stay here and also open a small business here. Opened a firm in 2008, and our firm has grown over the years. We started over in Sevierville. We still have a little satellite office there. We also have a corporate office over in Maryville, and our firm goes all over East Tennessee. So if you are listening and you have any legal needs, go to myradiolawyer.com. We do free initial consultations. We would love to hear from you. Our heart is really just being your family's lawyer. That's what we want to be. We want to be that relational, so that if you have an issue that you can, call me and say, hey, Jen, I've got this cousin and here's what they're facing. If we can't help you, we will find you somebody who will. We really just believe in having that relational approach to your legal needs. We are not a big firm. We are not a big mill firm that's going to just give you a case number and forget who you are and what you look like. I was talking to a lady last night, and I've have worked with her and now 2 of her sisters and her niece, all with different issues. And we have 3 attorneys with us. And so we're able to offer services for different areas. Our primary practice area is Social Security, disability, and family law. We also offer workers' compensation, personal injury work, probate, and criminal defense. So if you have a legal issue, give us a call, even if it's something we don't do. Let's say that you've invented something, you need a patent lawyer. That is way outside of my wheelhouse, but I will make sure to refer you to someone who I've either personally worked with or somebody that I feel competent moving forward. And so we are just really fortunate here at Burton McInnish that we've been able to have an opportunity to kind of showcase what our firm does through the radio show every week. And I just feel really lucky. I have a huge interest in sports and in journalism. And so the radio show is a little bit of an outlet for me. I get to get away from behind the desk or the podium and get to be here on the radio and meet just awesome different people here in Knoxville and surrounding areas. And I get to learn everything we have going on here in East Tennessee. And I get to be involved with you, the listener. And I really like that. My favorite thing is when we have listeners that call in, or I have listeners who shoot me an email and say, "Hey, Jen, I heard you the other night. Here's what follow-up question I have." I love that. I love being able, I've always been a people person. I love being able to interact with you, the listener out there, and can't say enough how much I just appreciate you guys tuning in every week. We try to make this show awesome. We try to make it entertaining, and we try to cover topics that you, the listener, want to hear about. We've done a really big series on the candidates for mayor, people that are going to be running in the primary in August for the city of Knoxville mayor. We've also done a couple of different things addressing the opioid issue that we face here in East Tennessee, some safety issues. We've had Department of Transportation on. We've also done some work with just simple things like, hey, how do I list my house if I want to list my house? Market seems to be really good right now, and Knoxville has experienced so much growth. And I cannot wait for this next segment to talk about the Zoo Knoxville projects. If you aren't aware, next week is the National Zookeeper Week. So I don't know if you know this or not, but Zoo Knoxville started as actually a 4-acre plot of land on a hillside over next to Chilhowie Park. So there's some fun facts that you're going to learn throughout the course of this show about the zoo that is such a big tourist attraction here in Knoxville. It draws over 500,000 visitors every year, and that's a ton of people that come to Knoxville just to see what we have to offer here at our zoo. If you're an animal lover like I am, I always joke if I lived out in the country, I would have my own menagerie. So right now, currently I have a little skunk family in my backyard that my Labrador seems completely enamored with. So I'm dealing with that, and that's bringing some different challenges and some entertainment for my 2 children, I will say that. So if you come by my house, it smells like skunk right now. But we are so excited just to have Lisa New join us tonight. There's so much going on at Zoo Knoxville. If you haven't been there lately, I encourage you to go because it is awesome. And there's so much for everybody. I know that my family takes advantage of and has over the years the yearly membership just so that we can go whenever we want to, because sometimes we can't go spend the whole day, but we'll have an extra hour or 2 and think, hey, let's go run and see some of our favorite exhibits. Like I said, my little girl adores the East Asia tigers. Like, she loves that. And my son, he was a big fan of the reptiles. I know we had the unfortunate incident, but I think he likes reptiles just because he knows that it scares mama. So I cannot wait. If you're coming back after the break, we are going to be with Lisa New from Zoo Knoxville. I can't wait to get involved with her and just hear some things about her. And you may say, hey, what does a zoo have to do with a legal show? Well, it really doesn't. But that's the whole purpose of Justice Talks, is to be able to kind of branch out from time to time and step out of the box and say, hey, this is stuff that our listeners care about. This is stuff that people in our community care about. And because Burton McInnish cares about our community, cares about our families, we like being able to offer you a little bit more of what's going on around you and just kind of expose some different things that are going on in the Knoxville area. We also have some fun stuff coming up in the fall. I can't wait for you guys to tune in to the show. I know that Saturdays are going to get busy once the Big Orange take the field, and I think we are all counting down the days to that first home football game. I know I am. But we've got some awesome shows coming up. We're going to do some different things, just bring in some different guests. We're going to do some legal shows that focus on, some particular areas, just some one show devoted solely to Social Security disability law. And I know there's a lot of questions out there, and there's some different, it can be kind of a polarizing topic, believe it or not. some people say, oh, if you're on disability, you just don't want to work. That's not the case at all. So we're going to kind of go behind the scenes a little bit, talk about how you qualify for Social Security disability, what the process looks like. If you're out there considering it, I urge you to go to myradiolawyer.com and shoot us an email. We do free consultations, and there's so much that goes into the process. So we're going to devote one whole show to Social Security disability law, just kind of the process, how you get started, what you need to consider before you apply for disability. So I cannot wait for that show. That's going to be, our show is called Justice Talks, and we do try to spice it up with some different things for you, the listener, but we are going to have some kind of hard-hitting legal shows coming up, one on Social Security disability law. We're also going to do a show on personal injury and just some things to consider. There is so much competition in that market out there. I know that you see the billboards and the ads and all that. So we're going to talk about what to think about when you're choosing a personal injury lawyer, what you should consider if you've been injured in an accident. So we can't wait to do those shows, and we'll get a little bit deeper in some of the legal ins and outs and crossing your T's and dotting your I's if you're out there listening. So we cannot wait for those hard-hitting legal shows. But I am so excited to come up on break, because when we come back, we are going to be talking to Lisa New. And if you're just joining us, Lisa New is the president and CEO of Zoo Knoxville since May of 2013. She's the 5th executive director in the zoo's 70-year history. And we are so fortunate that she agreed to join us on Justice Talks. So when we come back after the break, we are going to get with Lisa New and hear everything about Zoo Knoxville. So don't go away. We're going to come back here on Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton on the News and Talk of East Tennessee. News Talk 98.7 WOKI. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Justice Talk with Jennifer Burton on News Talk 98.7. Burton McInnish can be found online at myradiolawyer.com or by phone 865-233-1105. And now back to Justice Talk with Jennifer Burton.
Welcome back to Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton here on the News and Talk of East Tennessee 98.7 WOKI. I'm so excited for the listeners that are out there. I think you could hear it in the first segment. We are joined tonight by Lisa New, and she is the president and CEO of Zoo Knoxville since May of 2013. Ms. New is a graduate of the University of Tennessee with a Master of Science in Animal Behavior. She has done so many amazing things since May of 2013, and I was reading, I think it was in the bio that was sent over to me, that we've had a growth of 30% in visits over the last 3 years to the zoo. We currently welcome over 500,000 people to the zoo every year. There's so much going on. If you've not visited the zoo lately, I encourage you to go, because there are so many new projects, so many new things going on. Lisa, I'm so glad to have you here tonight. I can't wait to kind of get in and let you tell the listeners what all's going on at the zoo.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for having me. I'm always happy to talk about the zoo.
Well, we're really excited to have you. And one of the things I want to talk about, I'm a huge animal lover, and I also love babies. So one of the things I really want to talk about is that new little baby you guys have over at the zoo. So tell us about our new baby giraffe and how that's going.
Well, it's going terrific. So our little baby came July 1st, summer baby. And if anybody was following it, we anticipated that another of our females was expecting. We never actually saw breeding, so it's hard to believe we would miss such a grand event with the giraffe. But we anticipated that the other female was pregnant, but Frances is 4, which isn't unheard of. Giraffe can get pregnant younger than that, in fact. But it was just off our radar. And the curator of the area noticed that she was looking heavy over the winter. And the more she noticed and looked, the more she realized that this isn't just weight gain. This is, something going on here. So the baby was born July 1st. It was born overnight. They hit the ground pretty much feet and head first, and just, it's a big fall to wake them up, and and then standing within 30-45 minutes nursing, and it's been doing terrific ever since.
So mom and baby are both doing well.
Mom and baby are doing well. We are pretty sure that we know the gender. We're going to have a gender reveal with the name here in the next several days, and we're just working out all the details of that.
That is so exciting.
First one in 17 years.
Yeah. So was this an intentional breeding, or was this just nature happened and Princess
No, it
became
was
pregnant?
intentional. And in fact, almost every animal at the zoo, with few exceptions, is planned because space in zoos is finite. We really try to focus on species of conservation importance, and we work with zoos all over the country and the world to be sure that every birth is deliberate. Doesn't mean that sometimes there's not oops babies, but no, the giraffe program is managed under the Giraffe Species Survival Plan, and so we had a actual breeding recommendation many years ago, believe it or not, when almost 7 years ago, we received a male giraffe to be our breeding bull. His name's Junbei, and he came in, and it has just taken Junbei a while to figure out what's going on. So when guests come to the zoo, they probably, if they have gone on the Williams family giraffe experience and fed the giraffe, most likely they fed Junbei because he's the one who likes to come up and interact, and the other females have hung back. So if he doesn't come up to feed, it's because he's usually following the females around and interested in them. And so we did expect a baby. It was just a little delayed.
Okay.
So yeah, we're so happy. It's been 17 years. I've been at the zoo longer time than I care to talk about, and have had a lot of giraffe babies in my history there. And time just gets away from you. I had forgotten how long it had been. So it's a big deal. And my gosh, the community's going crazy.
Oh, it
about
is
it.
Everywhere. Social media,
Crazy.
the
Yeah.
news, everywhere. We see nothing about the new baby giraffe. And so I don't know, it's exciting. I have a 4.5-year-old and a 7.5-year-old, and they love the zoo, and they both love animals just like their mama. And so we've been watching the giraffe, and we love being a part of the zoo. And so this new baby giraffe, we cannot wait to see what his or her name is.
Right. And we love that the community's, in social media, they're saying our baby, like, the community. And we love it when we hear that because we belong to the community.
Well, Knoxville we are so lucky to have such an amazing zoo right here in our city. And the zoo has changed so much. I know when I was a kid, I lived in Canton, North Carolina, until I was 12. And so we would come to Knoxville. Knoxville was the big city at the time. And so we would come to Knoxville. We'd come to go to Lady Ball games. So we would come to go to the zoo back then. And so it's changed so much since the early 90s. And it's just awesome. So if you haven't been lately, I'm going to encourage you to go. So other than the baby giraffe, do we have any other babies that might be coming up on the horizon?
We may have a few. We should be talking about baby red pandas anytime it's season for them. We're hopeful that we have a baby langur on the way, although that's not confirmed, a little monkey that we opened as part of Boyd Family Asian Trek. And then we are trying very hard and doing a lot of actually scientific work to get our tigers together to have tiger babies. When we opened Tiger Forest, a key component of that was to be a premier tiger breeding facility for the Tiger Species Survival Plan. And so our female Aria has just started cycling on a routine basis, and we're ready to let them get together and see what happens there.
And and you'll have to excuse my ignorance because obviously I love animals, but I'm not well versed in the science behind it. When you have a tiger, and the tiger exhibit is just awesome. If you have not been, and I say the tiger exhibit, I know that it's the East Asia, I think the Boyd East Asia.
It's Boyd Family Asian Trek. Yeah.
Yes, it's the actual name for it. So if you've not been there, it's amazing. I know my kids love it. My little girl loves going to the glass and having that tiger right there, the up close experience, which is awesome. I mean, because usually at a zoo, you're so far back, you can't really see the animals up close. And so they are amazing and just so beautiful and majestic up close like that. How many, I guess they call them kittens like they do with regular cats?
Yeah, cubs.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many tiger cubs usually?
Typically, they could have up to 4.
Okay.
Actually, we have 2 males that are brothers. They were a litter of 4.
Okay.
So, we'll see what happens, but, tigers are solitary animals. It's not their nature being at the top of the food chain, to live together socially. It's just resources are too limited. So they're solitary animals, and they don't occupy the same time and space in the forests. And we try to mimic that at Tiger Forest in that we move them all through the space of Tiger Forest. So a lot of people say, your cats are really active, and and we designed the exhibit for them to want to be and rest where guests could see them. But we also manage them so that we're always moving them through space and following each other. And they're very curious about, who was there before. And so putting them together is really a matter of looking at hormonal data and seeing when she's cycling, seeing when the behavioral signs are right. Because believe it or not, it's actually dangerous, and there's been tigers that you put together at the wrong time that can kill each other. So there is a science to it, and we are ready almost to take those opportunities. They're showing us that they're ready, and so we always follow their lead. And
just hearing you talk, there's when you go to the zoo or you observe wild animals, you see this and you don't think about how intricate and how sophisticated their breeding systems are, their livelihoods are. And, you go to the zoo and you're there with your family and you just enjoy the day. You don't think about everything that goes into these exhibits and how thoughtfully they are put together and the design element that goes behind those until you talk to someone like you who's an expert in this field and, says, hey, everything there is thoughtfully planned. It is not, we're just going to fence this in and hope for the best.
Right,
so It's awesome to hear kind of the details behind the overall picture. So I can't wait. I hope we do get tiger cubs. That would be so exciting. But tell me a little bit about the East Asia exhibit. Is there more that's coming? Are there more animals to be added? Is it finished? Like, kind of where is that project?
Yeah, it is Boyd Family Asian Trek. It's about 4.5, 5 acre, $18 million multi-species experience. And so back in 2017, we opened Tiger Forest and white-naped cranes. And I should say to people who haven't been in a long time, they will remember essentially a very old, outdated rhino pit, for lack of a better word to call it, rhinos, where you look down on them. And so that is the current location of Boyd Family Asian Trek. So the rhinos relocated back to our Grasslands Africa section across from the elephants in a much safer and accessible area for them. And so tigers and cranes opened in 2017. In 2018, we opened Gibbon Trails and Langer Landing. They won USA Today Top 10 Best Exhibits in the country. Really proud about that. And then this year, we opened the Bistro Cafe and restrooms, which complement that whole area. So that completes that project. But then breaking ground this summer is the Clayton Family Amphibian and Reptile Conservation Campus.
And Lisa, when we come back, we're up on a hard break, but when we come back, I want to hear about the upcoming projects. I also want to tell our listeners kind of what they can do to be supportive of the zoo. So we're going to come back after a break here with Justice Talks and Jennifer Burton on the News and Talk of East Tennessee, 98.7 WOKI.
You're listening to Justice Talk with Jennifer Burton on News Talk 98.7. Burton McInnish can be found online at myradiolawyer.com or by phone 865-233-1105. And now back to Justice Talk with Jennifer Burton.
Welcome back to Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton here on the News and Talk of East Tennessee, 98.7 WOKI. If you're just tuning in, we are joined tonight by Lisa New, who is the president and CEO of Zoo Knoxville. We are so excited to have Lisa on the show with us. We have talked about our sweet new baby giraffe that we have over at the zoo, which is so exciting. Some plans for some new babies. And Lisa, I'm going to bring you in. Tell us what's going on with the zoo over the next 10 to 15 years. What can we be looking forward to that's going to, I know there's so much planning that goes in between fundraising and actually planning and designing and acquiring animals and so forth. So what's going to be on the horizon for the zoo over the next decade?
Well, we talked about the great exhibits we've opened in 2017 and 18 with Boyd Family Asian Trek, and next, actually, we're breaking ground. Hopefully this month, if not this month, next month, on the Clayton Family Amphibian and Reptile Conservation Campus. So I think you mentioned in the first segment that your son loved reptiles, and we had that unfortunate incident back in 17 when we lost some reptiles, and we actually closed part of our facility as a result. So, this new facility is one that really will elevate Zoo Knoxville. If you love our zoo now, you're going to be crazy about it. It's really right in the very center of the zoo. The campus is about a 3-acre campus, and it will also be a new North American river otter habitat. So both of those, which are kind of in the older section of the zoo, will come down to the very center of our campus. And then the Ark itself, we call it the Ark, is just a 12,500 square foot indoor climate-controlled facility, very aquarium-like, with just a pulsing of experiences. There's a conservatory that's highly aquatic and features Cuban crocodiles, which can grow up to 8 feet long and jump, 6 feet out of the water to catch their prey.
Oh my goodness!
So really dynamic. And then we have a dark gallery space that features gem box habitats with little frogs and lizards, and yes, a few snakes. Some people are scared of snakes, but they really comprise such a small piece of this. A giant greenhouse that features the work we're most famous for, which is our work with turtles and tortoises. And so sort of a hot, humid environment where you'll see just, all the tortoises and turtles and babies of those that live there. There's a giant marshland outside habitat with an outdoor ecological classroom for collecting specimens and, getting in the pond and doing real, ecological studies. And just a whole, the big, one of the hugest things about it is the technology. So we've not been able, having mostly outdoor habitats, we've not been able to feature the kind of technology and interactive things that maybe you might see in some of the bigger aquariums. So we'll be able to do that. We've actually received about $1.5 million on STEM technology and learning interactives in that habitat alone. So that all of that will really, I think, elevate Zoo Knoxville to be on par with some of the biggest and grandest in the country.
I think that sounds amazing because I know, I've got 2 small children, so zoos and aquariums are always big draws for us. And I know they love, for example, the aquarium in Chattanooga, which has a lot of interactive things for, young school-age children. So it sounds amazing and like a great project, just that, Knoxville's going to be able to take advantage of. What's the timeline look like on that? I mean, obviously that's a huge undertaking.
It is. It has about an 18-month construction window. Our hope is that we would open in early 2021 to be able to take advantage of the full season. So, that is the Amphibian and Reptile Conservation Center, which is the facility itself and all of the outdoor habitats that surround it, as well as North American river otters. And then you ask about the next 10 years and beyond. We have a master plan. You're right that what we build and grow and develop is very thoughtful. It's accompanied with a business plan to be sure we can sustain what we build. Right. We want to be good stewards of the wonderful philanthropy in this town that believes in the zoo. And looking forward is Africa. So the development of the west end of our zoo, particularly elephants, rhinos, some of our cat enclosures. So it will be a massive undertaking, near probably a $40 million development that we will be looking at after we finish the art campus.
Which will be awesome because I think that Grasslands exhibit over there, when you get down to where I know where the lion is, for example, and that area, it doesn't seem like it's been updated, recently, at least in my memory. And I've been, my oldest, he'll be 8 in November. So I've been back at the zoo pretty regularly over the last 8 years. And so, that whole end, there's some awesome animals down there, but, just making those exhibits a little more updated.
And when you have, a campus like the zoo, a 70-year-old infrastructure, we're always working to improve it. But it's a lot like your house in that there's always something to do. And as soon as you build the new, then what was new before starts to look tired. And even, though we invest in maintenance and upkeep, it needs refreshing. I mean, some of the best habitats that we have are in with Gorilla Valley and Chimp Ridge, and they still stand the test of time. But even so, they're now over 20 years old. They need updating. So,
Sure.
turning west to Africa, and particularly elephants, is where our sights are on.
And is there plans to add more animals or just to update their actual habitats and kind of change where they're at right now?
Well, we certainly want to take care of the animals we have, and our elephants, in particular, we want to be able to grow and expand that herd and offer them a lot more than we currently do. But yes, definitely new animals are featured into that African expansion.
And what do you do as far as on the conservation front? Because obviously it's entertainment for families like me to take my kids there and show them these animals that they wouldn't be able to see anywhere else. But what does the zoo do as far as promoting and educating those of us that come to the zoo about conservation and how important it is to take care of these animals?
Well, conservation is a cornerstone of our mission. It's really, our mission statement is to inspire guests, to save wildlife and wild places. And so obviously it's a big part of our message. It's a big part of any learning opportunities at the zoo. And there's kind of two prongs to animal conservation in my mind. There's individual animal care. So the animals that live at our zoo are ambassadors of their species, and in many cases they're a reservoir to wild animals. And so it's important for us to know that it's important for our guests to know that we are experts at animal care, and that when they come to the zoo, they know that we're taking the very best care of animals of any other place that they can imagine. But then secondly is conservation of animals in the wild. And zoos actually, including Knoxville Zoo, are doing work in the wild, in the field, with those species. So, putting our money where our mouth is, doing a conservation mission. In particular for us with tortoises and turtles, we have a program in Upper East Tennessee where we have been reintroducing and breeding bog turtles for over 20 years. We do work in Madagascar with radiated tortoises. We have a presence with tigers, so just a lot of work across the world, even for a zoo our size, and making sure our guests know about that and know that when they come to the zoo, we're a nonprofit, so 100% of their dollar is going to help us do what we do, including the work that we do nationally and internationally on conservation efforts.
And Lisa, that's something that probably the average guest doesn't know, is that y'all are a nonprofit. So, the money that you invest and that we invest in the zoo as visitors, and when we're there and any donations, like, this is a nonprofit. This is not just about having a great day and seeing animals. I mean, yes, that is so fun, but also your dollars are actually helping these animals and are helping a larger, more global effect. That's something you probably don't think about as the average guest when you say, hey, I'm going to take my kids to the zoo for this.
Well, and that we have tried really hard for that to be a recurring message of ours, is if you want to know what you can do to help the zoo and to help wildlife, just come. You can have your party there. Buy an annual pass for families that maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to, because you're giving experiences and lifetime memories, but you're also, providing the money that takes care of our staff to care for the animals, to feed and care for the animals, and including the international conservation work that we're doing with wild species in wild places.
And Lisa, we're up on a break right now, but when we come back, I want to talk about Knoxville Zoo has so many things coming up in the fall, especially so many activities and different things that it offers. So I want to go over that when we come back. So we're on a break. If you're out there listening, just stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute here on Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton on the News and Talk of East Tennessee, WOKI 98.7.
You're listening to Justice Talk with Jennifer Burton on News Talk 98.7. Burton McInnish can be found online at myradiolawyer.com or by phone 865-233-1105. And now back to Justice Talk with Jennifer Burton.
Welcome back to Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton here on the News and Talk of East Tennessee, 98.7 WOKI. If you're tuning in this beautiful Saturday summer evening, we are doing a special show. It's National Zookeeper Week coming up, and we have Lisa New, who is the president and CEO of Zoo Knoxville, with us tonight. And we have been talking about the amazing, amazing jewel that we have here in East Tennessee, which is Zoo Knoxville. We've talked about some of their new projects, some of their long-term projects, and I'm just so glad to have you here on the show tonight, Lisa, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. I wanted to be able to tell our listeners, the zoo does so many things that I think when I was living here and I was single and I wasn't married, I didn't have kids, I didn't think about the zoo very often. But now that I'm raising two children here in East Tennessee, I go to the zoo a lot, and there's so many things the zoo offers. Aside from the amazing exhibits and the animals, I know, for example, I think you and I talked about off air when I was homeschooling my oldest child for a while, we took advantage of Zoo Knoxville's homeschool program where they offer this awesome science class. If you're out there and you're homeschooling, this is a free promo for the zoo. I mean, take advantage of it. It is amazing. It's affordable. It was for Max. It was once a week for about an hour, and he learned so much, and it was so many different areas in science that I just could not have really stepped up and taken care of. And Zoo Knoxville was awesome.
Yeah, that has been one of our most popular and high demand programs. And you're right, it is very diverse science concepts that, not just typical ecology or zoology that you might think, but I think it's because we have good teachers, good science teachers, and we saw that need in that niche. So we love our homeschool programs. Yeah, really excited to keep offering that.
Tell me a little bit. I know there's a lot that goes on. Some of the better known things, Boo at the Zoo and so forth. But tell me what the zoo has going on just this fall alone, because there's so many things out there for you listeners to take advantage of that are awesome, whether you have children or you don't, or whether you're just a grown child and you love animals. Like, there's some awesome things coming up.
We talked, I guess, in the first or second segment about our new baby giraffe, and if anyone wants to join the zoo here in the next few weeks as an annual pass holder, we'll be having a special night up in the coming in the next month or so when the baby giraffe is going out regularly. So an evening just for annual pass holders to get to see the baby and get up close. So we're running a promotion on that right now. July 20th is one of our most popular days that, believe it or not, has nothing to do with animals, and that is Star Wars Day. And you cannot believe the children and adults who go crazy over Star Wars. So we're having that on the 20th. And then Feast with the Beast is coming August 10th. That is an adults-only kind of grazing party. So we have, dozens and dozens of restaurants, breweries, distilleries that offer their goods and bands. And so that's a big fun night that we always have. And then later in the fall, mid-September, we have our Brew at the Zoo event, which is a new event we featured last year. It was really, really popular. And it featured craft breweries. And
I was going to say, you've seen a lot of microbreweries pop up here
right.
in East Tennessee.
And so a lot of another sort of sampling event there, really popular. And so we're excited to do that. And then, of course, right around the corner is Boo at the Zoo.
Right. And Boo at the Zoo is so fun. I know that's something I've taken the kids to over the years, and it's just such a great experience. It's just a good time. Tell me a little bit. I know there's an Africa trip coming up, and I want to hear about that. That's probably not something most of our listeners can take advantage of, but tell us about Africa and why we should be excited about it.
Yeah. We are blessed at the zoo to have started a travel program. We started last year, and I am leading a tour to Tanzania to see the big five, elephants and giraffe and lions and Cape buffalo, and then also an extension to see the mountain gorillas in Uganda. And it's a unique trip for just a small group of people, probably 10 to 15 or so people, but it's a real conservation connection. So our purpose really is to go show our our guests and our friends what's happening in the wild in Africa, and connect with locals who are making a conservation difference, and especially ones that we in Knoxville have connected to and have relationships with. So it is a really, in fact, a life-changing experience. And I know for a lot of people, it's a bucket list.
Yeah.
A bucket list item. So it's not something that you can do every year, but, if that's the trip you've always been waiting for, we have been there a few times before and really made some wonderful friendships, and you just come back really changed and devoted to making a difference for conservation.
That trip sounds absolutely amazing. And obviously there's so much going on at the zoo that you, the listener out there, can get involved with and listen to. As far as people that are out there listening, they say, hey, look, I think the zoo sounds great. What can I do personally to kind of get involved with the zoo? It is a nonprofit. How do I get involved? What would you tell them?
Well, I think I mentioned before that you can come, for one. That's an important thing. There's other things that if you want to get a little deeper, we mentioned an annual pass holder. There's also becoming a member of our Circle of Friends, which is a higher level membership program that involves all sorts of opportunities after hours with your family, but also young adults, networking sort of events, and behind the scenes opportunities, all sorts of things like that. We have a very active volunteer program. So guests that want, or friends of the zoo that want to contribute in that way. Last year we have about, I want to say a little over 200 volunteers that put in 24,000 hours at the zoo. So they are a huge reason that we can achieve our mission. So we have volunteer training classes 2 times a year. We have a youth volunteer program that's also really successful. And that, that's just a few things. I mean, don't underestimate buying an experience for your friends for an annual pass, or having a corporate retreat there, business lunch. All of that is ways that help the zoo.
And just even saying that, it makes me, we were talking off air, like for today, for example, Burton McKenna's just having their monthly firm meeting. So just the ability for corporate people in the corporate world or small businesses to come in and take advantage of the zoo and kind of do something different. I mean, that is exciting for team members. I think our staff would love it if it was like, hey, we're going to do something a little different, a little edgy. I think it would be awesome. And just, if you want to get involved in something like that, what's the best way? Is it to go to the website? Is it to call you? Is there someone who does?
Yeah, you can. We do have someone who just handles group sales, but our website's a good start. Calling me or just, any of us, calling the switchboard. But I will say all of those kind of opportunities, like the corporate events, people don't think about that, but it brings you there usually without your family. Mm-hmm. And so you look at it in a different way. We make so many very deep connections and friendships through those things. Yes, bringing families out and having a great day at the zoo, but some really meaningful friendships and connections, business to business, that we make that way. And when I talk about that, people are just like you. They're like, oh my gosh, my company has a corporate retreat, and we usually go here or there. And just it starts to spawn all sorts of ideas. So we have weddings at the zoo.
I was going to say,
one of the most popular places. Yeah.
Which is so, I can't imagine. I mean, I love animals, but I'm like, that would not be my first wedding venue that you would think of. It's not right now. We see so many rustic weddings at barns and so forth. But what a beautiful place to have a wedding. And what a great setting. Beautiful
Shea Family Pagoda and Black Bear Falls with the beautiful waterfall. We do a lot in our plaza. And then our special events tent is rustic, scene like the barn. Lot of wedding photography throughout our beautiful grounds with all the bamboo and lovely landscaping.
And Lisa, I want to talk real quick. You hit on something, and you said something about how important the zoo is to the community. We've done a series with the mayor of Knoxville and so forth. And one thing I've heard a lot of the candidates talk about is increasing better attractions around Chilhowie Park, which I think could only help the zoo, because it's like, here's the zoo, and then there's a lot of dead space around there. So how is the zoo going to partner with the city of Knoxville? I mean, do you have any plans for that, or is there anything you can talk to about hey, this would be great and be beneficial for the
Yeah,
zoo.
that's a great thing for you to bring up. We have been involved in the master planning of Chilhowee Park. We're the biggest tenant of Chilhowee Park, so we have had a voice. And our board has talked about, interestingly, not ways to make the zoo better, because any development that is beneficial to Chilhowee Park in East Knoxville and the Magnolia Corridor is going to benefit the zoo. But you're right, it is sort of a dead zone. It has a perception issue. And, I live in East Knoxville. I live in Holston Hills. I work in East Knoxville. I think our residents want places to eat, places to go to the movies. We would love that area to be bustling, vibrant extension of our city. And any development like that, particularly other attractions, would make us much, much stronger.
Because you have the zoo and you have the muse, but some other attractions would be awesome, especially for maybe that teen population, draw them down there. But Lisa, we're up on our time, and I just want to thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
It has been awesome. If you've not been to the zoo lately, I encourage you to go. Again, thank you so much for being here tonight with us on Justice Talks with Jennifer Burton, here on the News and Talk of East Tennessee, 98.7 WOKI. Salaries from Atlanta or whatever, but I do give them a lot of